then, this morning I'm going to be building a small, portable, adjustable power supply. The idea behind this is something you would take with you and you could use it in your vehicle to power different devices. The head unit is this 32 volt 5 amp power supply. It's actually a buck converter that's adjustable. I'm going to mount it in this box and put in some connectors on one side, on this side for input. They will consist of some Anderson power poles and a set of posts. Power poles will be to connect to, I have different types of connections with clamps, and we'll also have a connector like this. You can plug it into a cigarette lighter. The other thing will be that you could even just run straight wires to the input. The output side will have basically, when I left it in the house, it's going to have Anderson power pole on the outside, and it's going to, you'll have a connector like the old style multiple AC adapters you could get from Radio Shack, where you could change the ends. It'll also have a female socket like this. You can plug up something that requires 12 volts, and there's the 12 volt socket. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to use. So I've already done a little bit of work on this. I started by laying out the location of this on here. So it needs to be cut out. There's going to be a fan that will be on the inside. It was originally mounted on the back of this, but I'm going to mount it so it draws air through the device. There will be a opening on the other side with a vent cover. There'll be also a cover on this side. Probably just use a cheap, just some mesh, unless I have the exact right type of grate for this. The size is 1.5 inches, and one of the ways that you can try and measure this thing and then draw it out on here and then drill the holes and hope you get them right. But what I did was I just got up the first hole where I wanted it, put the screw in, got the second hole where I wanted it, put the screw in, and just kept repeating that. And if you do that, the holes will line up almost perfectly. I won't have a problem. Then I just found the center, and I'm going to use this 1.5 inch hole saw to cut out the center. And I'll just use a deburr. So you can see that should line up just about perfect. And then we have another one on the other side. Yeah, I know that's not perfectly centered up there, and it doesn't exactly matter. So stand by while I clean up a little. Alright, so the next step is, just so we make sure things fit in here, I'm going to drill out the hole for our head unit, and then I'm going to use a coping saw to cut it out completely. So this part's going to take a little bit, and I can't really do it in the camera, and nobody wants to watch that anyway, so I'm going to come back when that's done. Okay, so I have a rough cut, and I'm going to then, using a box cutter, one of these, I'm going to carefully whittle away until this thing fits, just fits. I'm not going to do that on camera, it takes too long and boring to watch. Okay, so got that done. Took a while. You'll notice maybe that there's a couple of notches in here, and that matches these tabs on the side. They don't need to be very deep. In fact, these may be a little too deep, but that's it. Fits pretty much like a glove. Let's see here. It's just gonna, oh, bugger. Yeah, that'll work. So, got to do some more cleanup. There's a lot of crap gets generated with these plastic boxes. So I have to fix this teeny tiny little connection here. That'll definitely have to be secured better. Oh yeah. So I've got to get some mesh and get back. Okay, so fan is mounted with the little mesh here to keep big chunks out. Same at the bottom. And fix the fan connector. Now the next thing will be to put the input connectors on this side and the output connectors on this side, and one of the connectors is going to be one of these, and the other one is going to be this. So won't bore you with the details of this at this time. Okay, I jumped ahead a lot. Basically, what we have are, we're going to have a plus and minus in from a battery or some other device that can be just, wrapped. Anderson power poles in. These power pole sockets are something that I picked up at a ham radio swap meet that some guy 3D printed. I don't think they're something you can buy. I had to go through the box and pick out ones that actually worked. Some of them were, the threads were munged up, but I picked out a few of them and wanted to give them a try. And this looks like a good thing to try it on. The holes are just a little bit larger than 13/16ths, and they're a double D. Basically I went a little bit smaller and then I walled the holes out so that they would be sort of a double D so they don't spin. And then this is just a socket I picked up off of eBay. It's 1 inch opening, and then it has a notch in it on this side. You have to cut a notch, and that keeps it from twisting. It just snaps into place. So the next step is to wire everything up, and the way it's going to work is we're going to have the plus and minus from this, and the power pole going to the plus and minus in. Yeah, on this side, and then the out is going to come out, and it's going to go to these two. So we'll get that done. Okay. So what I did was I basically wired everything up. This is the input side. So I've got it like this. Power goes in, power comes out. And input goes to this side, outside is plus. Second one is minus for, actually this is output. And then input side is on this side, plus on this side, minus in the middle. So right now I've got my bench power supply set to 18 volts, and zoom in on this a little. Let's take this off. Apparently this is how you turn it off, is when it's powered up, you turn off your output by pressing in. So you set your voltage like this. Pressing this causes that to blink. So now we're controlling that. Pressing it again. Oh. Is that amps? No, okay, I get it. Interesting. You got millivolts down here. Press that to go back. CC is constant current. We've got 2.5 amps. Let's go to 4.5. And if you press the mode switch, it shows the input voltage is 18.5 volts, output is 12, and don't really have any way of hooking something up to it right now. Let's see what my bench meter says. You can't see. Bench meter says 12 exactly. So 3 digits. So, I think that's successful. Oh, so on these Anderson power pole things that the guy 3D printed, there's a hole in the middle, and when you put the Anderson power poles together, you can put either a pin or a bolt or something. And to keep this from being pulled out, I just take a piece of number 14 wire and put it through there. I think you could get 14 gauge or 12 gauge wire in there without a problem. There is one other thing I have to make, and after I put this together, I will go get that and make it, and then show you what it is. Actually, there's two other things I have to make. So, there we go. That looks pretty decent. I'll be back. Okay. So, basically what I did was I wired up one of these so that you can plug it into a car, and then this end would go into the box. However, you could also plug it in and hook it up to something that I've got, you know, power to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in there. Oh, and the other thing I did was I set up one of these. Ever seen one of those? They come from Radio Shack, and you can change out the tips. So I can plug up pretty much anything I want to this thing. So, plug this in here. And we're going to plug this into here. It's not going to have quite enough voltage, but that's alright. I just want to run it. So you can see it does power it. So, yeah, that's about it. See you later.